Hey everyone, last month in my public classes, we focused on shoulder mobility, focused on shoulder integrity, right? So strength, length, range of motion, all that good stuff. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of create a video that shows my kind of go-to, my favorite shoulder mobility drills, shoulder mobility exercises, right? So first off is a staple, right? If I only have time to do one thing in a day to work on my shoulder mobility, I work on controlled articular rotations, or CARs for short, or just think shoulder circles, but with control, right? I'm not just whipping my arm around like I'm signaling somebody home from third base. I'm gonna use control, right? So we'll start with the ball in the socket, right? What wants to happen is the ribs wanna move, the torso wants to move. What I want you to try your best to do is keep your torso, your hips, your body from moving, and just think, I'm just moving the upper arm bone, or think more, I'm just rotating the ball in the socket, right? So you'll start with your right hand palm facing forward. Now I take my opposite fingers to my ribs just as a reminder, don't let myself move. And then I'm gonna bring my arm across the body. As I bring it across, what's gonna wanna happen is the torso is gonna wanna turn. I want to go to an end range in this shoulder. So I'm taking the arm across the body as far as I can without moving anything else. And then from here, I'm gonna keep the palm facing up. I'm gonna reach the arm up until I feel a hard stop. Once I feel a hard stop, I'm not going to try to lift my arm up any further. If I notice my lower ribs start to flare, right, my low back, my thoracolumbar junction where my upper back meets my lower back, it's trying to become a shoulder. I want to take that out. I want to keep my shoulder the only thing that's a shoulder. And then once I find this hard stop, rotate the palm outwards. As I rotate it outwards, I'm going to take it back. Now this is the tricky part. The body wants to turn with the shoulder wants to hike up, the other shoulder wants to move too. I'm just going to move the arm. So I'm going to try to stay as square forward as possible as I reach back. As I reach back, it's like I'm wringing a dish towel. I'm going to reach my arm back and rotate the palm up toward the ceiling. As I rotate the palm up toward the ceiling, I'm going to bring the hand down by the hip. And then I'm going to reverse it. Palm up, reach up. Turn the palm out, reach up till again I feel that hard stop. Once I'm here, I'm going to rotate my arm across my body, palm facing up, try not to twist with it, and then bring my arm down by my side. I'll do that one more time, but I usually do this about 3 to 5 times each day. All right, palm forward, take it across. I'm trying not to move my torso. Keep the palm facing up, just reach up till I feel that hard stop. Ribs, try not to let them flare. And then I'm going to rotate my palm outwards. As I reach back, my body wants to turn. I'm not going to let anything turn besides my arm, which means I'm not going to go as far as I think I can go. Palm's going to rotate up. As I rotate up, I'm going to bring the hand down by the hip. And then I'm just going to reverse it. Arm up, palm rotates out. Try not to side bend. I'm just going to reach my arm up till I feel a hard stop. Arm across, palm facing up, and then bring my arm down. Again, I do that about 3 to 5 times. You should feel some energy. This should feel like work. Maybe if you're one of those people that sweats pretty easily, you should be sweating, maybe sweating a little bit through this. 3 to 5 times, both sides. All right, so we work CARs for the ball in the socket. Now let's work CARs for the shoulder blade, which is actually your socket, right? Because if we can't move the shoulder blades very well, since it is the socket is contained on the shoulder blade, we probably can't move our shoulders very well. So we need to be able to control them and move them through all the different rotations, right? So to do this one, there's many ways to kind of move the shoulder blades, but reach your arms straight forward, about shoulder width distance, maybe a little bit wider. I'm actually gonna go a little bit wider. Palms face each other, right? And then from here, I'm just gonna start by drawing my shoulders up by my ears, right? I'm trying to put my shoulder blades up into my ears. All I'm trying to do right now is just move my shoulder blades. And then imagine you're putting a pencil or a walnut between your shoulder blades. Just squeeze and hold the pencil. If it's easier, squeeze and crack the walnut. Now keep a hold of the pencil. Put your shoulder blades down your back, right? Like you're putting your shoulder blades in your back pockets, but you're still squeezing and hold the pencil. Now drop the pencil, fingertips forward, right? So you're gonna feel your shoulder blades pull away from each other. Now lift the shoulders up by the ears. Squeeze and crack and hold the pencil. Keep a hold of the pencil, put your shoulder blades in your back pockets. Now drop the pencil, shoulder blades around the ribs. You're going to feel your fingers reach forward. Now lift your shoulders up by your ears. Squeeze and hold the pencil. Shoulder blades down the back. Now we'll reverse it, right? Keep a hold of the pencil, lift the shoulders up by the ears. Drop the pencil, shoulder blades away from each other. Shoulder blades down the back, squeeze and hold the pencil. Shoulder blades up by the ears, drop the pencil, fingers forward, and then go ahead and relax that, right? Again, 3 to 5 times, both directions. Once we've moved the shoulder blades, once we've moved the socket, let's get into some of my other drills that I like to do. All right, so the next one we have is probably my absolute favorite and probably my most absolute essential that I would recommend for everybody. It's called the sleeper stretch. But it's not just a sleeper stretch, we're gonna turn the muscles on in the sleeper stretch. And the reason why the sleeper stretch is so important is because around every joint in your body, right, where two bones come together, there's a capsule, right? Think of it like a compression sleeve, right? And if the compression sleeve is too tight, the bones can't move very well, which then means that the muscles, they get stretched or they get worked to a level that they're not comfortable doing. All right, so the next one we have is probably my favorite. It's probably my absolute go-to in terms of creating more mobility, right? The cars is my go-to for maintenance. The mobility itself is going to be what we call a sleeper stretch, but not just a sleeper stretch, an active, turned-on sleeper stretch. And the reason why it's important, and just real quick on anatomy, right? Where a joint is where two bones come together. And around that joint is a capsule. Think of it like a compression sleeve. And if that compression sleeve is too tight, the bones can't rotate very well, which means that the muscles, the ligaments, all that stuff can get overtaxed, right? Because they have to, the demand on them is greater because the bones can't rotate properly. So what the sleeper stretch does is it helps get deep into the capsule. And the reason for why this is so important is because the direction of the capsule is axial rotation, right? So it's internal and external rotation. So if we can work the deep tissues in this direction, it's going to help open up extension and flexion, right? It's going to help open external and internal, all that good stuff, right? So we're going to start there. So it's a staple. So the way to get set up, hips, shoulders, kind of in what we call in yoga, we call this Dandasana, staff pose. Just think of it as a seat with your legs long. Take your right arm out to the right, bend the elbow like you're giving some a car signal, like a hand signal in a car, right? Now bring your right elbow to the floor. Bump your hips back to the left so you can get the back of your shoulder on the floor. Now I like to take a yoga block. It can be a pillow, it can be a rolled up pair of pants, whatever you got. Or your head can simply be on the floor. But when I look at my right elbow, right, some of us may be able to take it straight out from the shoulder, but for a lot of us, we need, that's a little bit more extreme range of motion. So I'm going to take my elbow down about an inch or two, right? So it's down towards my knees just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my right pointer finger up toward the ceiling. And then without moving my arm, my upper arm, I'm just going to rotate my pointer finger so it's pointing in the direction of my belly. Now I'm not trying to shame my belly, I'm just pointing it. I'm trying to rotate the arm into position. If your fist runs into your belly, just bump your hips back. Now you can retuck that finger in and then take your left hand to where the forearm meets the wrist. So I'm not up here on the hand and I'm not down here by the elbow. I'm right about where the forearm meets the wrist. And then I'm just going to press down until I feel a hard stop. Now if you feel the back of your shoulder start to lift, just come out of the stretch just a little bit, right? But when I come to this end range, I'm just going to come to the hard stop. I'm just going to pause for a moment. I'm just going to breathe. I'm trying to calm my body. I'm trying to calm the nervous system, right? Your nervous system is a huge constraint on your how far or how much mobility you have. If it trusts the end range, it's going to allow you to go further. If it doesn't, it's not. So we want to calm it so it can relax, so then it can be receptive to change. Now, normally I would hold this for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, but no one wants to sit here and watch me do this for about 90 to 2 minutes. So just imagine, right? I'm passively just allowing this stretch to happen. 2 minutes have gone by, and then what I'm going to do is turn the muscles on. So I'm just going to take my right forearm and press back into my left hand. It's like I'm trying to pull out of the stretch. And with my left hand, I'm not going to let it move. I'm going to do it at about 20% of my strength. I may have started to shake. Shaking is normal here. And then I'm going to bump it to about 40%. And then I'll take it to 60. I'm going to pause at 60 and squeeze my inner thighs like I'm holding a block, this yoga block, between my inner thighs. I'm going to squeeze tight. And then I'm going to draw my belly in and flex my biceps. I'm going to irradiate energy in my body and use that energy in the body to press back into my hand as close to 100% as possible. I'm only going to do it for 10 seconds. So I can hold this for 10 seconds. I'm pressing as hard as I can. For 6, for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to hold my left hand where it's at. And right away at 100% of my strength, I'm going to pull my right arm down towards the floor. So I'm trying to, it's like I'm arm wrestling a ghost. I'm trying to pin that fist to the floor. Right, again, my right back of my right shoulder is going to want to lift and keep that down. So I'm pressing hard for 10 seconds. For 3, 2, hold my right arm where it's at. 1, left hand comes to right arm. Press down. Get to my new end range, and maybe I just found a new end range. And I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to try to calm the nervous system. About 30 seconds go by, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do another rep. Maybe 2 or 3 reps per day, and then switch sides. Right, but no one needs to see me do the second side. So the key is press the arm back into the hand. Right, you come to the end range, pause for 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And then it's it's ramping up to 100%. And then once you get 100% of pressing back of that right arm, hold it for 10 seconds. And then right away, arm wrestle the ghost, try to pin him to the floor for 10 seconds. And then left hand comes back down, press to your new end range, pause. All right, next one is active GOMUKHASANA in the yoga world. Just know that we're going to take internal rotation and we're going to take flexion into consideration with both shoulders. But come into a lunge. If a lunge doesn't work, you can always do this standing or on both knees. But just come into a simple lunge, reach your arms forward and make fists. And then we'll take our right arm back, turn the thumb in, that helps rotate the shoulder properly, and then bend the elbow, fist up the back as far as you can. Then we'll take left arm up toward the same. Notice as you lift, just like we did in the cars, right? The lower ribs, they want to get involved. Draw them in. Reach up till you feel that stop. And then bend the elbows, work the fist to touch. If your fists touch, don't clasp the hands like we do a lot in yoga. Press the knuckles together. So you're here. You'll take a breath in, and then on your exhale, you'll just simply switch sides, moving through it, right? But you're not just whipping the arms, just like in the controlled articular rotations. You're moving with control, right? Imagine you're moving, you're swimming through water. So then you take a breath in here, and then on your exhale, you just switch sides. And just going back and forth between these two, trying to get the fist to touch. If they don't touch, it's not a big deal. But what I don't want to see is this, the ribs flaring so I can get my knuckles closer, because again, that makes you feel like your shoulder range is improving, but it's not. Your thoracolumbar junction or your low back is starting to become a shoulder, and it's not designed to be a shoulder, and we want our shoulders to be shoulders. So do that a few times, right? Just going back and forth. You can intensify this by actually doing it belly down, pubic bone presses down, forehead presses down, and then from here you would just switch. I find this one a lot harder. I usually like to practice it there, so try them. Try both of them. All right, so next up we have, we're going to take the shoulders into a degree of flexion, and then we're going to do lift off the blocks, right? So we're going to take the muscles into an end range, the shoulder and end range, and then we're going to tell these muscles to work just a little bit harder. So what you want to do is come into your belly, come onto your belly. Reach your arms forward. Blocks about shoulder width distance, maybe a little bit wider. Forehead on the floor. Right, and with the forehead on the floor, you're going to press your forehead on the floor, but also press your pubic bone into the floor. Make fists, and then all I want you to try to do is lift your right arm straight up toward the ceiling. Right, as you lift up, watch the right shoulder's going to want to lift, the right armpit's going to want to roll up. Try to keep your armpit square to the floor and just lift straight up with the fist. And then set that down after a breath or two. Just go left arm. Right? Set that down. Let's go right arm. Set it down, left arm. Trying to keep the armpits level. Set it down. I will do both. Keep pressing the pubic bone down so your low back doesn't get involved. Set it down. Pick up both. And set them down. Next one, we're going to now work the back of the shoulder. So that was working from flexion, from an increased range of motion and flexion, to lifting off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to isolate the external rotators, which for a lot of people this is going to be really intense. So bring your blocks back a little bit. You'll bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Straight out from the shoulder, maybe an inch, a little bit forward. Fist to blocks, elbows on the floor. Now if your elbows can't leave the floor, or if your elbows can't touch the floor with your fist on a block, just take your fist to the floor. Right? And then forehead to the floor. We're going to keep our elbows on the floor and just lift the fist straight up toward the ceiling. So what I'm trying to do is come into this position. It's never going to get here, but that's the action. I'm just lifting straight up, knuckles up toward the ceiling. What I see a lot is people will do this. They'll take this fist towards the ear. Right? This does absolutely nothing for what we're trying to target. So what I want you to do is keep your elbows on the floor, and we'll just go right knuckles up toward the ceiling, try to lift off the block. Set them down. Left fist lifts. Set it down, right fist. Set it down, left fist. Set it down, right fist. Set it down, left fist. Set it down, breath in. Let's do both fists. Set them down. Both fists. Set them down. Relax. Right? So do as many reps as you can. This isn't intended to get huge ranges of motion. This is intended to be small movements that really work specific spots in the shoulder. So with the arms straight forward with the fist and you're lifting up, it's working so it'd be like this right here, taking it and lifting it back. right? With those blocked fists on the blocks, we're just like holding our elbows in place and we're rotating the fist backwards. This one is designed to get the back of the shoulder, right? Your external rotators. This one here is just to kind of work the full flexion, the muscles that work into flexion in the shoulder, right? So think down dog, right? It's to strengthen those muscles there. Next up, I have what I call dolphin in lunge, right? Dolphin in lunge. So what you'll want is a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, a water bottle will work great for this as well. But you'll come into a just simple lunge with your back knee down. What this one's going to do is it's going to create length and strength in your lat muscles, which your lat crosses the shoulder blade. It crosses the shoulder, so it's truly a shoulder muscle. But you'll take your block forward, straight out from the shoulders, and then peel your fingertips off so you're not gripping your block. And then just pull your shoulder blades together. This is not what we want when the arms are going to go overhead here, but I just want you to do the opposite of what we're looking for. Now, shoulder blades apart, pass the block a little bit more forward without moving the torso. From here, reach the arms straight up toward the ceiling. Again, the lower ribs, they'll want to flare out, draw them in. Pass the block up just a little bit higher and then bend your elbows to 90 degrees. What's going to want to happen right away? Elbows are going to want to flare. So what we want to do is squeeze the armpits in towards each other. Get those elbows to come in. Lift the elbows up toward the ceiling. Pass the block back. Right? So armpits in, elbows up, block back. The block gives you feedback. The block gives you something to feel so you can squeeze onto it just a little bit more than if you didn't have a block or a water bottle. One more time. Armpits in, elbows up, block back, right? Release that. So if you're ever looking for like a forearm balance, if you're ever looking for strength in the dolphin or more openness through dolphin, work it in a lunge, because then it takes a big load off, but at the same time, it just allows you to control a little bit more with the block. So that's what I love is I love to do this in a lot of my shoulder-based classes because it gives you what needs to happen, a lessened load, but still really challenging. All right, next up, what I have is just a simple lat lengthener. Because a lot of times because we sit all day, right? So just some anatomy, right? Your lat connects to your inner bicep and runs down into your glutes a little bit, right? There's a lot more to it, but I just want to give you that idea. So it's this big fan muscle that runs from your bicep and it reaches all the way down into your low back, right? And blends through. But because we sit all day, right? If you think about it, that muscle's not being stretched. It's here. And then when we go to reach our arm overhead, that muscle then becomes long because the inner bicep is reaching up while my glutes are staying where they're at, right? My low back is staying where it's at. So that muscle's getting stretched. But because we sit here all day, they tend to be tight. So to get this to stretch, just come to a simple seat, right? I'm gonna take these blocks, I'll put them behind me so it doesn't get in the way. I'm gonna take my right arm out to the left. I'm gonna turn my thumb as close to straight out to the side as possible. You'll find out why in a moment. My left arm's gonna reach out to left, palm facing down. I think this is just the easiest rotation for the shoulder. Palm down, reach it forward, and then up over your left ear. So you can see I'm lengthening this lat muscle that runs all the way down, getting some side body in here, but with the thumb facing out to the side, with my right arm, what it allows me to do is bend my elbow and bring me further into it. All right, so I'm gonna reach through the ring finger. My palm stays down. I'm bending my elbow and I'm reaching. I'm trying to keep my left sit bone from lifting as much as possible, but it's okay if it lifts a little bit. And then I come back, I'll switch sides, right? You can always switch the legs, but this is more of a shoulder-based video, so who cares? Right, turn the thumb out to the side. Right arm out to the right, palm down. Sweep the arm forward, up over the ear, and then bend your left elbow as you reach and lengthen through the finger. Okay? So how to finish with that? If you can get all these in, finish with the lat lengthener, right, with a nice seated. You could always do it with legs straight out to the side. You can always do it in a lunge, right? You can do it standing. Any way where you can kind of come into this nice side bend and get this length here, you got it, right? So those are my favorites. Let me know what you think. Try them out, right? They're go-tos, but just know it's like hitting the dumbbells, right? You can't just go to the gym once, do a bunch of dumbbell curls and think, my biceps are huge now, right? It takes repetition. Shoulder mobility is gonna take a long time, but if you do it with strength, if you do it with control, you'll get there a lot sooner than not.